Let's talk about child support in polygamous family situations. When the wife leaves or the husband leaves, is there supposed to be child support for the children who are involved in that situation? Let's get into it. Cody Brown has made several comments on Sister Wives recently that the wives would screw him over and take advantage of him if they could and come after him for things like child support. So is child support screwing a man over, especially in a polygamous community where a man typically has so many other obligations with so many other children? He also states the claim that because Janelle got divorced, and he rolls his eyes, she's owed something. She feels like she's owed something. So this is a huge topic because I personally have been through this. When I got divorced, I was 25 years old. I hadn't graduated high school. I had 3 babies. My youngest was 1 year, barely had turned 1 year old. I had a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I had no high school to graduate or no high school diploma, nothing. Where my ex-husband was a master and had a general's in electrical contracting. And he gained his different levels of licensing during our marriage while I was the mom, stayed home with the kids. So was I entitled to any sort of child support? The state of Utah said, yes, I was. My ex-husband said, absolutely no, I was not entitled to pretty much anything, any of the marital assets, any sort of child support. He felt completely screwed over if I asked for anything to help take care of these children. Now, I had to work 3 jobs in order to support those children and keep a roof over their heads. But that was more important to me than obviously being homeless with them. So in the polygamous community, these men feel that everything belongs to them. The children belong to them. The wives belong to them. Everything of the marital assets belongs just to them. So if a woman chooses to leave, then she chooses to leave with nothing. She chooses to leave with no child support, no physical, tangible assets of any sort. And then the man is always done wrong, even if the reason for the divorce was the man's fault. So watching Cody Brown on the show make these claims that these women are screwing him over because they were wanting child support really is infuriating to watch. And I'm sure it is it's triggering for a lot of people when you watch him make those kind of statements, because he acts like he is being done so wrong, when in actuality, they're asking for him to just take care of his underage minor children. Okay, so Cody claims that he's doing these women a favor if he gives them any sort of financial aid or financial support, especially in the way of child support. Why does he feel like he's doing them a favor? Well, in most states, you can get a divorce for a no-fault cause. But in the AUB or in the polygamous community, the only way that you can get a release or get a divorce is if there's somebody who has broken their covenants. And so Cody doesn't feel like he's broken his covenants. My ex-husband did not feel like he broke his covenants. I'm the one who wanted to leave. I'm the one who didn't want to be married to him anymore. So therefore, if he gave me any sort of support financially, he was doing me a favor, because the Gentile courts were going to order him to do something that he by priesthood law did not have to do, because he had not broken his covenants, or he didn't believe that he had broken his covenants, at least. And when a man doesn't believe that he's broken his covenants, then he is the steward over everything: his wife, his children, finances, every physical asset. So if he's going to share any of that with you, it's by him doing you a favor. So because they feel like they're doing a favor for you, what are you going to do in return? Typically, you have to give them something or do something for them in order for them to do the favor of paying child support to you. So my ex-husband wrote me a letter one time and said to me, do you remember how the only time my mom ever contacted us is when she needed money? Well, the only time that you're contacting me is if you need money. So he says to me, the only time he ever hears from me is if I need money. So he says, but I will go ahead and help you out. I'm actually reading it from a letter he wrote me, but I will go ahead and help you out because I love my children so much. So he's helping me. But then he cautions me and says, but please be careful, because I will treat you the way I have treated my mother. And I said, I just was stunned, because he didn't have a lot of respect or honor for his mother, and he treated his mother extremely poorly. I personally think he treated me more poorly than he treated his mother. So then he goes on in the letter to state, if you want a better future for our children, quit treating me the way my mother treats me. and only contacting me when you need money. Well, we're well divorced and I'm remarried again. I have no reason to contact him other than whatever's happening with our children. But he feels that since he owns me and owns our children, he's doing me a favor anytime he pays me any amount of child support. So in this letter, he goes on to say that he has zero loyalties to me or to his children, and that he is angry because I've replaced him with another man. And so therefore, he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe our children anything, and that he will easily replace his children if he needs to be. So this is literally the mentality of so many of these polygamous men. I'll just replace my wife and my children with somebody else. And you see that on the TLC show. You see that in Sister Wives, Cody just replaces his family with a whole brand new family. And these men feel very little remorse. In my experience, they feel very little remorse about this because the Gentile court system took away what was eternally theirs and what eternally belonged to them, and they didn't have just cause to do that, because the only time that you get a release or get a divorce is for some heinous crime that says you broke your temple covenants to your eternal mate. So it's no surprise to me. It is still shocking to hear it, but it's no surprise to me that Cody Brown gets on national and international television and declares that these women feel that they're owed something and that they would screw him over for child support, and that he does not owe that, or that he is doing them a favor if he helps them out in any way. So unfortunately, most polygamous people don't have a television show that they can go to a court system and say, look what he said on TV. Most women don't have that available to them. And so what do? They just leave these situations, or they don't, because they can't financially afford to leave them. And they will be desolate with small children. And so they don't leave. They stay stuck in situations that are abusive and physically, emotionally, spiritually abusive situations, because if they do leave, anything that they receive from that man from that point forward is a favor, is something that he, by the graciousness of his heart, is going to give to his children and to this woman. At zero alimony. I don't know anyone who's ever left a situation like this and ever gotten a drop of alimony, even if they were the legal wife. They don't ever get anything, because these men will lie, cheat, and steal for each other. Even in a court system, they will lie, cheat, and steal. So many men from the AUB lied for my ex-husband, made false documents for my ex-husband, trying to make sure that he didn't have to pay me $1 more than what he actually had to pay. They actually did get caught by the court in their lying and their manipulation, because we could tell that the judge could tell that they were false documents. But not very often does that happen. Typically, they will get away with lying, cheating, and stealing for each other, so that these wayward women cannot walk away with any amount of financial resources from the family. So it really does infuriate me when I see Cody Brown on TV say he's doing these women a favor. No, he made 18 children that he is financially responsible for. That's what he needs to be responsible for. And he needs to stop focusing on these women who he feels like are screwing him over, and he needs to focus on taking care of his own children. So I've said this in numerous videos. This is why women and children in polygamy are collateral damage. Mostly the children are collateral damage. They are not provided for. They are seen as items to be owned and not items to be loved or nurtured or taken care of by these men.